first, it's a strong message that a country, that a president chooses an ambassador to the United States with a background and a specialist in human rights. That's by itself says a lot about Costa Rica and the Costa Rican people. We are a country that has been, we're well known for being, talking about peace, for democracy, for environment, for getting along with all countries, even with complicated, relationships, but we still get along. But most of it is a country that does not have an army. So when we talk about countries around the world, which right now they're going, the world is going through a very chaotic period. And you see Costa Rica, that already, it's a plus. So that's how I grew up with. I grew up with people and a community and a country that in high school and in elementary school, you grew up thinking about peace is one of the most important things. So you have to respect the other people, even if they look different, think different, and also about the environment. So that's how Costa Rican children have grown up, including myself and all the generations. So that does make a big difference on the career path that I have taken. And I feel very proud that I decided, I don't know when, I cannot pinpoint to when that happened, but that I said, okay, in order to make a better world, you actually have that responsibility of doing something about it. And in my specific case, I've gone through the route of human rights, of working with the most vulnerable populations. So I've done it in a more technical way at the World Bank when I was working on the prevention of violent conflict, where I worked in Africa and Asia, even in Latin America, but also as the national ombudsperson or the national human rights, the person in charge of the National Human Rights Institution of Costa Rica, where I work with the entire Latin America on topics of immigration, on topics of women, children. How do we make societies just work together for the better of all of us? So that has been something that I've done, which I have brought here to this position. Again, my president asked me to be an ambassador here, knowing my background. So it's a very strong message that Costa Rica is sending the world, that one of their top ambassadors is a person who has a background in human rights. So how does that affect my everyday work? It actually affects it very positively. The first thing that I would say is that when I do work at the colleague level, so I would put it into two levels. First, at the bilateral level, so how I interact with the U.S. government, which is my specific job. So we do work with topics of trade and commerce, but everything that I negotiate with the U.S. government, and of course with instructions from my government, there's always something related to the peace, something related to democracy, something related there to the better of not only Costa Ricans, but the better of the world. So that does reflect in the bilateral part. And also in the more working with your colleagues, because there's over 150 countries here, which I relate to quite often. And Costa Rica has adopted a very interesting role of convener. And what do I mean with that? We're one of the few countries that gets along with everyone. Again, we're not in conflict with anyone. So when my colleagues, we discuss things, I can get along really well with the Latin American region, Latin American and Caribbean region, which is the region that we're part of. but Costa Rica gets along really well also with the African region, with European, Eastern European, Central Asia. So Costa Rica is well known not only at the bilateral level here for being a country of peace, of being a country that respects human rights, but it's also at the level of the other embassies here within the Washington area.